Hello, Icon community. It's John Kokoska, founder of Icon Coaching. And today I've got our next icon. Her name is Janki Patel. She's the owner, the founder of the Janki Patel Real Estate Team out of Fremont, California, right in the Bay Area there. It's a family-run business. So those of you guys who have family that you've aligned with to increase your influence within the market area, I want you to tune in. I want you to pay attention. So she's partnered with her husband, Haren, her daughter, Simran, and her son, Dylan, and they're all just crushing it in real estate sales. So Janki, welcome to the webinar.
Thank you, Coach. It's a pleasure being here. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Now, we met how many years ago?
Oh my gosh. When I first got into this business, I remember you coming to Modesto for a bold class, and I was trembling in my feet, literally, and that's where I met you, Coach. And I remember you tapping on my shoulder coming. I was a new agent, always me tapping on my shoulder. I'm calling about 123 Main Street, go. And it's okay, what do I say? So yeah.
To master that incoming script or master those follow-up scripts, that conversion strategy, you guys, so powerful. And Janki, you grabbed a hold of those lessons, you applied them, you implemented them, and look at you today. You're our next.
Thank you, Coach.
So congratulations. Okay. So Janki, just tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you go from a new agent in the Bay Area, new to that market, to where you're at today?
You know, my story starts way back when we were in New Jersey. We lost, it was in 2008 and 2009 where we lost everything we owned. My husband lost his job. The real estate market came crashing down. I was only maybe 2 years in the business at that time. I didn't know what to do at that point. We lost our 401k. We lost our home, our savings, everything tumbled. We made our move because my original, where I lived was in the Bay Area, and we were in New Jersey at that time. So called my parents up and I said, you know, everything is gone. And my dad, I remember my dad saying, well, honey, come back home. We're here for you. Came back home with $1,500 in our pockets, 2 children, little ones, 2 kids, my puppy, and of course, Haren and I traveled cross country with $1,500. And we came here. It's a little bit of a story, but again, I just want to share where we came from. And came here, worked for my brother's company a little bit, felt that it was not my niche. It was not what I wanted to do. So I decided to get my real estate license. And once I got my real estate license, that was a different story. I literally took a loss in everything. And I felt like I'm 30-something years old, staying in my parents' home. Where do I go from here on out? Long story short, we went ahead and I joined Keller Williams at that time. And before that, I worked for a top producing agent. I was her assistant, making $11 an hour, folding and stuffing envelopes. And I remember when I was stuffing those 300, 400 envelopes, I told myself at that moment that, you know what, I'm going to be able to do this on my own one day. It was a very emotional phase in our lives at that time. It was a very touchy phase in our lives at that time. So having no money, making $11 an hour, where do I go from here on out? Knocked on top agent doors, top producers shut their doors. They did not let me, they did not give me the opportunity of being mentored by them. I was willing to give them 50, 60% of my commission, but nobody yet opened their door, Coach. And at that point I felt, I'm coming from an attorney state. How do I go into, you know, a state where you need to know everything? You're the attorney, you're it for a client. So I went on to one agent and I said, listen, you have disclosure classes, please let me attend. She says, no problem, I'll let you attend those classes. And from there on out, I started attending more and more classes. I built my confidence up through that. I went to Bold. I had no money. Keep in mind, I had no money, and it helped me just knowing that there's a payment plan and everything will be fine. And you know what? I just tried to see what I could do, called my inner circle, called my network. Everyone owned a home. Nobody wanted to sell at that time. So I started door knocking. And through that, I found a seller who wanted to list their home. And that's how I started. I got my first listing within at least, I think it was about 3 months when I got into the business.
Fantastic. And let's talk about current levels of production. So you went from being flat broke in a brand new market, really didn't know many people at all.
Not at all.
Talk to me over the last, say, 12 months, total sales volume.
Oh, wow. Our total sales volume is close to about 60, 65 million.
Fantastic.
And climbing. We have done a lot of business and we've started building our team out. We've had failures building our team in the past. And now it's a different story. We're looking for that avatar. We're looking for that avatar of an agent that can actually fit in on our team. So it's a very different type of time frame in our lives right now.
All right. Well, good. No doubt about it. And I've had the pleasure of coaching with you for about the last 30 months or so. Yes. You're applying the leverage to the model. You're identifying the models, the systems, the technology, and now the people to really take you from 65 million up to well over that 100 million mark, which I know you're aiming for. No doubt about it. Congratulations. So the question on everybody's mind, mine included, with so much competition in the Bay Area, so many realtors, how on earth did you get to the position that you're ranked #1 on Yelp? Talk to me about that.
Yes, absolutely, Coach. It'll be my pleasure. So organic growth, that's what it's all about. Making sure my service spoke for itself. I think that's very important to come from a service, to be in a service industry, to come from what is it that the client is really looking for, how to be service oriented, to really focus on where can it take you from here on out. It's all about the client. Remember that. It's not about us.
Well, no doubt about that. I totally agree. And yet, do you ask your prospects, your clients, for reviews on Yelp, or do you inspire those reviews?
We do ask once when we sit down and buy a consultation with them. But after that, they are the ones right at the closing table saying, what was that review that you told? Where is it that we need to go? Can you share a link with us? They're the ones who ask us. So that's where, that's how you want to make your transactions. That's the level of service that you want to give your clients when they ask you.
Yeah. So undoubtedly you're inspiring those recommendations on Yelp. You're inspiring referrals. You can't do that unless you're giving wow type service. So give me an idea or an example of some of the things that you guys do within your team to provide that wow experience for your clients.
So that's a great question, Coach. What we do to provide the wow service is we sit down with our clients. We probably take about an hour and a half to really find out their needs, their wants. Not only that, we actually go in a little bit deeper, find out their disc profile, find out right before you even speak to them. I mean, you even have them as a buyer consultation, find out what their disc profile is, find out how you can service and cater to them from that disc profile, right? And that's when they will be impressed with the kind of service that you offer to them. We also, once we sit down with the buyer consultation, find out their needs and their wants. Why is it important for them to buy a home right now? What motivated them to buy a home? I think those are the key questions to ask your clients. We also, with the WOW service, we also provide previewing homes for them. A lot of people these days are very busy with their life, right? I mean, we've got weekends that are packed with personal, family stuff to do. Weekdays, you're working 9 to 5 or whatever it might be, kids, practices and so on and so forth. So they don't have too much time, but that doesn't mean that they're not motivated enough to buy a home, right? So what that means basically is preview homes for them. What we do on our team, I emphasize our team members to go out there and preview homes for your clients. Do a Facebook Live, a Facebook video with FaceTime video with them, or do just a plain video of their home, explain to them what the key points were, take it back to their needs and their wants, saying, remember you wanted a 3-car garage, well this home has a 3-car garage. Remember you wanted hardwood floors, this home has that. So go back to recollecting what their needs and their wants was and reiterate that when you're previewing homes for them.
Yeah, and leveraging technology to make an impact on the client. Guys, I want to make sure you got that. They're actually going out previewing based on the needs of the prospect, these properties, and doing a FaceTime with them. I almost said FaceTime or Facebook Live as well. Yet doing a FaceTime video with them so that you can in real time answer questions and give them insight. It just demonstrates your commitment to help them find a home quickly. In fact, Janki, as you're talking, it reminds me of the largest transaction I had in my entire life.
Wow.
Turns out that one of the founders of Level 3 Communications was relocating to Superior, Colorado, just outside of Boulder. They were setting up their headquarters there back in the early 90s. Now I'm a 23, 24-year-old kid at this point in my career, right? And I learned that he was moving in, he was interviewing agents, and I got a hold of his secretary and set up a time to interview him. I was able to quiz the secretary in terms of or the call coordinator, executive assistant, whatever you want to call them, in terms of what is the criteria, what is he looking for, what are the hot buttons, right? I then went to MLS, I pulled up every property that matched, and back in those days I had a big video camera, one of those that actually sat on your shoulder.
Oh, wow.
And I went out and I previewed every listing that matched the criteria, and I said, when I stepped in for that interview at the headquarters of Level 3 Communications, I told Mr. Hamill was his name, and I said, let's go downstairs to the parking garage. I'd like to do my interview there, if that's okay. Now, I had a Suburban. I had a VHS player in the Suburban. We had a television in the Suburban, and I popped in the VHS, and I had a little remote control, and I would fast forward through some of the properties that I'd gone out and preview, and I just said, I hope you don't mind. I took the liberty to recognize that your time is incredibly valuable. I went and I previewed all these properties, and I'd just like to get your feedback so I can really get inside your mind and help you find this right home quickly without wasting a lot of your time. Right. I earned this business in the process and got an over $100,000 commission check in my early 20s out of that one simple transaction because I was willing to invest the time up front to add value to them. As you said, it's not about us.
It's not about us again. And that's value, right? That's where you came in with a lot of value, which other agent didn't. Any other realtor that was probably interviewing for the position did not do. So going that extra mile, share and show knowledge. I always share my knowledge with our clients. You have to be in the driver's seat. You have to be the driver driving them and them saying to you, what do you think I should offer for this home? That's what our clients ask me. What do you think I should offer for this home? It's not, well, I can only afford this much. No, it's not. That's not the conversation we're having. We're having, ask Janki, what is the right offer so you can get this home?
Yes, and undoubtedly you're in a very tight market like many of our listeners are, right? And you're being outbid and overbid, and just give us an insight. What is your average list price to sales price ratio right now in the Bay Area?
About 1.15, I would say.
1.15, so not as bad as I had anticipated the answer to be. I've got some other clients in San Francisco where they're about 11.5, 12% over market value right now. And even still, highly competitive market, no doubt. And they're turning to you saying, what should we offer instead of them telling you what they want to offer, right?
And our list to sale price is around 102%, 110% in some cases, 108% in some cases. So we do have our clients go above list on most of our listings.
Fantastic, fantastic. So where does most of your business come from right now?
Most of our business comes from past clients. Let me talk a little bit about that. My clients turn into our family. And the relationship I have and create with them is a relationship that lasts a lifetime.
Wow.
Kind of think about that. I mean, we just don't say, okay, you're done, see you later. We actually keep in touch with them. We actually drop by, just door knock and drop by and say, hey, how are you? How's everything going? I call them. I'm constantly in touch with them. I email them saying, how is it every couple of months? How is it living there? How do you like the neighborhood? So on and so forth. So having that constant communication to tell them, you know what? I just didn't close the sale. I care. I do care. Right?
Well, what would you say to an agent who says, well, I don't like to call past clients. I don't want to bother them. I don't know what I should say. I mean, because frankly, I even coach some of you out there, and you know who you are, that just ignore the past clients and you're on to the next. Now, we have to understand that it takes us 10 times the energy, 10 times the investment to get a new client than it does to nurture a past client and get that repeat and referral business. By the way, when you do your business right, most of that business should come from past clients and sphere of influence. So tell me, are you asking for referrals or are you inspiring referrals? Talk to me.
We inspire referrals, honestly speaking. We do. I'm not kidding you. We don't have to ask, hey, who do you know? In some cases, yes, we do need to ask. We do have to ask them, hey, who do you know that's looking to buy or sell? In fact, a couple of months ago, we had one of our clients, Yash, just coming in, and he did a buy consult with us. And right away, in about a day or two, he says, I have a friend that's looking to buy a property. I have two friends that are looking to buy. I'm going to set up some time with you, Janki. When can we come in again with this new friend of mine? The friend called me and said, you know what? I've heard such great things about you. I want to come and see you, talk to you, and find out, is it the right time to buy a home right now? And that was Rajesh, one of his friends. So we didn't have to ask for that referral. He just saw what kind of service we gave them. And, he shared a friend with us that's looking to buy.
That's phenomenal. And that's how it's supposed to work, right, guys? So I know you do a lot with radio advertising. You, in fact, have a radio show. Talk to me about the radio show. How'd you get engaged with that?
Oh my gosh. So how did I get in touch with the radio? My dad was a big community person. He got me in touch with a radio jockey, RJ basically, that was really interested in interviewing me. And I don't know how he knew about us, but he said, I've heard about your daughter. I really do want to interview her. And I want to see if she's interested in, doing radio shows with us. At that point, I was like, no, come on, this is all a gimmick. This is not, it's all about money for them. I don't want to advertise because it's airtime. It's expensive. But he was very persistent. Every time he saw my dad, he asked that question. So my dad said, why don't you just give it a try? Do a couple of shows for free. He's willing to offer that to you. Why don't you try it? And when I started trying it, I actually fell in love with it because I was just talking like I would talk to a buyer at a buyer consult or a seller at a listing appointment. And I kid you not, I had callers calling me after, and I said, oh, I like this. So we went ahead and signed up for about 3 months with him. But honestly, radio, it pays off. If you're consistent, if you're consistent in doing what you do and what you love to do, it does pay off. You become a public figure on radio. Clients walk into my open house and become completely starstruck. Oh my God, are you the Janki Patel? Are you the one on radio? So I give them valuable information. We just don't talk about anything and everything and make it fun,
Good. So what advice would you give to somebody who's considering getting into radio, doing a radio show? I mean, frankly, it's not as expensive as you guys might think that it is, right? It's
absolutely
affordable
not.
for anybody who's closing over probably 8 to 10 million in total sales volume per year. So what advice would you give to them about starting a radio show?
Honestly, I would say talk to your audience or your listeners as if you're just talking to a client, right? I would say it is a great opportunity if you have the patience. I definitely didn't have the patience, but I have a husband and 2 kids that are so patient with everything. So they kept on pushing me. I was ready to give up. Listen, all top producers in this area are doing postcards. I should be one of them. But they kept me going, saying, do something different. Radio is something different, and you've created that. You're beginning to create that buzz. So the advice that I would give someone that is looking to get into radio would be go for it, but be patient, because it does take time and money. It does take time in the beginning. For about 6 months, we didn't see any results. After that, we started getting calls. We started getting calls after the show. Hey, Janki, I have a quick question about this. It's just offering them, and come from contribution. Again, they're calling to kind of get advice from you, and it's okay to give advice. You're not giving free advice. You are giving free advice, but that doesn't mean that you're not gaining their trust for a later date.
There you go. I love it. And by the way, every one of my coaching clients that's on radio, or even those that I've interviewed in the past that have done radio shows, they'll tell you exactly the same thing. It takes on average about 6 months to start seeing the business from that effort. Okay, so it does require patience. It requires consistency. That consistency is one of the first rules in branding, right? No doubt about it. So tell me, Janki, what are some of the best topics that you've discussed on your radio show that have produced leads to your business?
That's a great question, Coach. So relevant information, rate changes, market trends, real estate development, market updates, situations I encounter with my deals, live experiences is what people want to know. Market stats and data for past and present. I think that's very important because a lot of people call in and say, well, can you tell us a little bit about this city? And can you give us more information about, is it a great time to buy an investment property? So when they call in and ask those questions, I get really excited because that's right in my niche. This is what I love to talk about. And I make it fun. We actually give away raffle prizes. We ask them to visit our Facebook page, like us on Facebook page. That is a call to action we ask them to do. So, and we've got a lot of people that have done that in the past, come to our Facebook page, liked our Facebook page just from that.
Good. What other calls to action do you have when on the radio show?
One thing that really sticks out to me, Coach, is to be the name of the community, to be credible. So when they think real estate, they think the Janki Patel Team. And I kid you not, the last open house we had 89 groups that came. to that open house.
Wow.
And that is unheard of in this market here, although it is a pretty hot market, but having 189 groups, I kid you not, 70% of those groups that, are you the same Janki Patel? We saw your board outside and we wanted to come see you. We wanted to put a face to that voice. For me, and I was hiding, not hiding in the kitchen, but I was a little bit tucked away because I came out talking to people and I was just taking a minute to drink some water. And I kid you not, it was nonstop. This is the same Janki Patel. This is the same Janki Patel. So it felt really good that people who were listening to me on radio wanted to stop by that open house just to say hi to me. That felt a lot. It was very moving for me.
Fantastic, Janki. Congratulations. Now, you've mentioned it a couple of times, to identify your niche in real estate sales. How important is that?
You know, very important, point blank, very important, because here's what happens. Think of it as that you're the expert. Think of it that not only will you be more confident in knowing what you're talking about, but it is very important to gain clarity and knowledge through that, right? Knowing your niche is important. Again, you will be able to use your niche to accelerate your business. And isn't that what you want to do? A niche will also make you the expert and make you feel comfortable when talking about something, talking about relevance, talking about why is it important to buy in this market or sell in this market. It's not a buyer's market. It's not a seller's market. It's a flat market right now, right? So know what you're talking about.
No doubt. And who you're talking about or who you're talking to, no doubt. So how did you identify your niche and what is it?
So identifying my strength, think of it as if that's your strength, something you are good at doing, right? My niche moves me from inside. I kid you not, when I want to, and I'm so passionate about this, Coach, it makes me move from inside. Passion and confidence it's a great combo in our real estate industry. Trust me. When you do something passionately, your clients will be able to see that through you. When I hand that key to a buyer, I kid you not, every single time I hand that key to my buyers, I sit in my car, I make that phone call to Hiran and say, you know what? I made another person's dream come true today. For me, just think about those words. I made someone's home ownership dream come true today. How important is that? And when you're sitting in the closing and you're seeing that your seller is excited to see that big number they've never seen before in their lives, when they sell their home, how important is that to you? Doesn't that make you feel like, oh my gosh, you're the hero? You know, that is what I love about this business.
Fantastic, Janki. Fantastic. So tell me, what is your unique value proposition as a realtor in the Fremont community?
Experience, knowledge, and guidance. That is my unique value proposition. I go above and beyond, and what an average realtor does. For me, that is so important, Coach, to go above and beyond. Like I said before, I preview homes. I go and I do a walkthrough and make sure cleaners have cleaned the property correctly. The home smells fresh. Make sure the stager has done the home, staged the home correctly. It's showing bright, airy, and beautiful, like a client would want to see it, that home look. I give my honest opinion, Coach. In this industry, it's so important to be honest and truthful to not only your client, but to your vendors as well. If there's something you don't like, you need to speak up and say that. Listen, in my opinion, I think it should be this way. And you can have a discussion after that. Knowledge and guidance then allow my client to actually think about, why is it important to them? Again, it's about them. It's not about you. Each of my agent on our team, Coach, for example, each of my agent, like we were talking about the niche in our market, right? Each agent on our team has a niche. Ooh. And so, for example, let me explain that a little bit further to you. Karishma, beautiful Karishma is listening in right now. She is at her niche is data and market stats, from comps to past market trends. She shares that knowledge with us on our team every week, every 2 days, right? Jasleen, which is another buyer's agent who's listening in, her niche is more on the emotional side and making sure the clients remember why they are purchasing a home. Come back to their why, come back to their motivation. And then, of course, our wonderful Natalie, experience, process, documentation. My niche, the knowledge and experience I bring to the table, not only am I able to educate clients, but I can also help with understanding what other realtors are offering to them, that we can double, triple that.
Love it. Love it. So tell me, as part of your niche, obviously we've got to identify our avatar, our ideal client. Now, how did you identify your avatar, and who are they?
My avatar, my complete client is someone that is looking for knowledge, someone that is wanting to learn about this industry and make an informed decision. My avatar, my client, is when they're looking to sell, they're open to listening to a true professional and not listening to the clutter that is around them, that surrounds them daily. Well, you should do this, you shouldn't do this. Who is the professional? Take charge. As a realtor, I say take charge. But the way to take charge is only based on if you have the knowledge and if you know that you can guide them in the right direction. If you don't have that knowledge and that confidence, your client is not going to be able to be confident in you, correct?
Undoubtedly. So we've talked about this on coaching calls where we've talked about identifying your avatar.
Right.
And as my memory tells me, it's generally speaking a software engineer, which geographically you're in the right spot for that. So understanding that this is a C-type personality, somebody who's very cautious, somebody who's very calculated. The engineers, the CPAs of the world is a good example of this C-type personality, right? Somebody who can really focus on complex projects, who wants to understand everything. How does that impact your marketing messaging?
Right, and that's going back to when we sit down at a buyer consult or sit down at a listing appointment, getting to know where they work, what do they do, what is it that they do with passion, is it just a job that they're doing? Find out the true disc profile of the client and then service that. So how do I find out? Let's rewind back to when they first call me and say, hey, I'm looking to sell my home. Dig deeper to ask the right questions. Find out their profile right there and then, how they talk, what is their tone, what is their message they're trying to give? Are they rushing you off the phone? Are they saying that, okay, yes, I am in meetings all day, I work as a software engineer? Find out what they do in that first initial call so you can keep them at that appointment. That's where you make your big impact. That's when you make your impression coach.
So understanding their dominant behavioral styles really influences how you're going to present to them on this listing presentation, right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
When you cater to them in their, and they don't understand that you've already done your research about them, that is the best part. And they'll wonder, where did she come up with this? How does she know this is what I like? As an engineer, engineers like data. They like statistics. They're very analytical. So when you dig deeper with them, they're like, oh my gosh, she's actually giving me what I want before even knowing or asking. You see, that's the key here. Before they ask, you present. That's what we do.
Absolutely. So recognizing your ideal client is a C-type behavioral style. Obviously, that has trickled into your marketing message. It's trickled into your radio show. It's trickled into every marketing piece that you're putting out there, whether it be on Facebook or whatever the case is, where you're over analyzing the data for them and then providing them with the bottom line data that they're after to make an educated, informed decision. Fantastic. By the way, you got to think about the alignment between becoming number one on Yelp and doing that intentionally and who her avatar is. So her avatar is a very analytical person. They're going to do a ton of research before they identify a realtor that they want to give their business to. So being number one on Yelp, recognizing her ideal client is going to go in and search Yelp. They're going to do the reviews. It just aligns naturally. So Janki, congratulations on that. I don't know if you did it on purpose. If you did, you're smarter than I am.
Not at all.
I love it. So let me ask you, you engaged in coaching with me directly about 30 months ago. Why'd you do that?
You know, I had a coach, and let me rewind back to KW days. I had a coach at KW, and I just wasn't getting that connection that I was looking for. And I said, who do I go to? I even texted Diana Kokoska and that is your mom. I texted her through my private text through actually Facebook and Messenger. And I said, I'm not happy with this coach. And she was very empathetic about that. Let me find you the right coach. And long story short, we left Keller Williams at that time. And I felt, okay, I've always had a coach and a mentor in my life, I want to choose the right coach. And I remember you, Coach, when I met you at family reunion once, right in the elevator, right crisscrossing, and I met your family, and it just clicked that this is who I want to coach with. Way back when, and I thought maybe in MAPS coaching I would gain you, but that didn't happen. So this was my opportunity to say, I want to choose the right coach for me who can help me gain knowledge, gain education, and help me push through. And that's where you come in, Coach. That's you are our support, and I am so grateful for that, Coach.
Janki, it's my pleasure. Absolutely. And fortuitously, I resigned from KW at the same time you resigned from KW, and it just aligned almost magically, right? Yeah. It's fantastic, no doubt. By the way, why did you leave KW?
I didn't leave. I was kicked because I was doing a lot of business through, my team was double ending. We were one of the top producers. And I think our team leader did not like the fact that we were number one. She wanted another team to be number one. So a lot of politics.
And I hear that every day, sadly. I hear that every day. In fact, that's part of the reason why so many people are reaching out to me. And Janki, I got to tell you, I probably get, 5 calls a week from agents saying, hey, what do you know about this EXP model? I mean, seriously, because EXP, you guys, they are growing by leaps and bounds. They did in 6 years what it took Gary Keller 20 years to do because of the technology and the models, the systems, the support that they're offering. So in an effort to save you guys a lot of time Googling and searching around and doing your benchmarking and trending, if you'd like to gain information about that EXP model, I've just done this to leverage my time. You can simply text EXP Wealth. That's EXPWEALTH, all one word, no space, to 888-111. And you're going to get bounced back immediately. About a 7.5-minute video that's going to give you the high-level concepts of why the EXP model is growing so quickly. They went from 4,000 agents last year. They just passed 20,000 agents. They're probably going to hit 40,000 by the end of the year. I encourage you to check this out. It's a wave that's probably worth riding. I've been in this industry for almost 29 years. I've never seen a model that has taken on such just growth so fast, and there's a solid reason why behind the scenes. That video will tell you why and how it all works. So let's go back to Icon Coaching for a second. What has coaching really done for you, Janki? Talk to me.
It's taken me from being an average agent to be a team leader now. It's taken me from being an average agent to taking me into what I've always wanted, what I've always dreamed of, my vision. It's actually making clarity of my vision, making it happen. So that's where Icon Coaching has done for our team and me.
Good. Well, I've got your back, and I'll tell you, it's taken you from being an average agent to being now an icon.
Icon, there you go. Yes, absolutely. But more than anything, Coach, I believe in everyone having it's just part of a routine. Like you work out, you got to have a coach, you got to have a mentor. You need someone to show you what you're doing right and wrong, or show you the ropes of success, or show you the little clarity that you need from time and again, and focus and bring you back to your vision. I went from being one agent, my husband being on our team, doing all the back end work, to my son and my daughter taking the reins of the business. I mean, that is powerful, Coach, and we couldn't have done it without you. So now my son, Dylan, my daughter, Simran, are now directors of, one is director of accountability, and the other one is a director of training and recruiting at a young age of 20 and 23. Imagine that, Coach. So yep. All thanks to you of making that clarity, actually making that vision actually come true.
Well, no doubt about it, Janki. You've done the work. There's no question. Yet sometimes it's hard to read the label when we're stuck inside the bottle, no doubt. Right. And let me give you just a little insight to Janki and the team's growth, because what we're going to see within the next 6 months is not a linear growth within her team. We're going to see exponential growth. We're going to see a catalyst that has just been introduced with both of her kids joining the team, where now she's able to leverage through the kids the recruiting, the training, and the accountability associated with expanding her team. So guys, we got to recognize that in the phase of leverage in our business, there's really 4 key categories. It's leverage through models, things like your economic model, your budget model, your compensation models for the team, your lead generation and lead follow-up models. Then we have systems, and a system is a standardized process that produces a consistent and predictable result. Right. And then, of course, leverage through technology. And we're going to get into that in a moment, Janki. Yet leveraging through technology, like doing the FaceTime calls with clients and touring the property with them, for them. You get to do it at your own leisure and then narrow it down from, say, 7 or 8 or 10 properties that they maybe want to see the inside of, down to 1 or 2. Because I know you and I, Janki, we can preview a property inside of probably 5 to 6, 7 minutes, right?
And there you go.
And it just leverages our time. And then finally, it's leveraged through people. Now, most agents who want to expand their leverage through people, well, the challenge is they just can't. They've got too many things to focus on. They cannot give the time required to recruiting other talent to join the team. In fact, I'll just say it out loud. Most top agents, they don't have a lead generation problem. They don't necessarily have a lead follow-up problem. What they have is a talent problem. And because they're juggling so many balls and doing listing appointment after listing appointment, working with this buyer or that buyer, they just don't have the time to really focus on recruiting the right talent. And I'll say this again, you've heard me say it 1,000 times. If your business is not where it could be or should be, gang, you're simply missing a key relationship. Now, of course, the compensation models behind those key relationships, that's the secret sauce of Icon Coaching. I'll tell you what, because I got the right compensation models, it will motivate individuals to act like owners. And most of you that are building teams right now, you don't have the right compensation models. You train these people up, you get them proficient, they get drunk on the wine of their own success. And what do, Janki?
They disappear.
They leave. They become your competition. Congratulations. You're training your competition. Rather, you apply the right compensation models to retain your people. And also focusing on a culture of productivity, providing so much value that they would be incredibly arrogant to leave the team. They would have to be. So bottom line is, guys, we've got that secret sauce. In fact, just to make it easy on you guys, if you are interested in taking the next step, if you are interested in aligning with a coach, somebody who's been there and done that, I would encourage you to, that same number, 888-111, just send one word. It's discovery. Just send discovery to 888-111. We'll get on the phone. We'll walk you through a brief assessment, because prescription before diagnosis, in my opinion, is malpractice. And quite honestly, Icon Coaching isn't for everybody. That's for darn sure. Yet by engaging in this complimentary discovery call, we'll be able to answer, are you a good fit for Icon? And are we a good fit for you? So go ahead.
And what I was about to say is, when I remember that day very clearly. I was stepping into not a webinar, I was in a conference, and I remember thinking, Coach, I remember that call too, Coach, and I called you and I said, Coach, I said, Sean, actually, I didn't even know that was my coach. I said, Sean, I don't think I could do this. I want to do 50 closings this year, and how are you going to get me there? And Coach said, you know what? Let's take a step back. Let's talk. When do you have a quick minute? And that's how it started. I was stuck in the 12 million for so long. I couldn't break through that ceiling at that time. But once I joined Coach, and once I got some clarity of my own vision, what is it that I wanted out of this business? I gained that clarity from joining Icon Coaching. That's when I had a massive growth, and I blew the rooftop off. And now we're from 12 million, and within, I'd say 30 months, Coach, from 12 million to heading off over to 70, 80 million now.
That's fantastic. And by the way, we've only scraped the tip of the iceberg, by the way, because the potential that you have, the potential that the team has, and aligning with the Icon models, it's just going to go, and it's going to go, and it's going to go. Yes. I can't wait to see what your business looks like 12 months, 24 months down the road.
Exciting, actually.
Implementation of the additional team members, and focusing on that recruiting and expanding, applying the right compensation models. This is going to get really big, Janki. Just hold on, you're in for a great ride. We'll probably do a Icon revisited with you in 12 months, if that's okay.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So my next question for you, Janki, is knowing what you know now, so many years into this industry, what do you wish you knew when you first started out?
I wish I knew that this business is all about patience. I wish I knew it's about consistency. I wish I knew I could go on and on. As a new agent, and knowing what I know today, I would have taken the step into real estate in my early 20s if I had the opportunity to do so. Because coming from the level that I am at this point, if I was on that level, you know, in my 20s and early 30s, I kid you not, I would have already built my empire, you know, and I would keep growing. So it's all about knowing what you're getting into. It's an amazing business with the right people, like you said, the right tools and the right vision and systems. I think it's very important to be in alignment, but knowing that and then stepping into it, be patient with yourself. Don't get upset. And that's what I tell all my agents. I tell them when and a weekly meeting, don't get frustrated. This is a business that'll, once it's right now, like they say, farming is, you know, fertilizing, and it smells and it stinks. So it'll take some time, but when it blooms, it's going to be beautiful. And you're going to say, well, I need an assistant. That's how it's going to be.
No doubt. Well, I love that word consistency, and you've used it several times during our webinar, by the way. So many agents, they get stuck in the trap of signing up for that next shiny object, right? And maybe they don't have the budget to sustain it, or they get bored with the process and they give up right before it's going to blow up. Like the radio is a great example, right? 6 months before you started seeing a return on that. And now you're reaching this celebrity type status within your market area, right? Where people are coming into open houses saying, I've got to meet this Janki Patel. Is she someone on the radio show, right? Very good stuff, no doubt. So let's take humility, Janki, just for a second, and let's throw it out the window. Tell us about some of the greatest successes that you've achieved to date in business.
You know, trust. I think that is the biggest thing that I've achieved from my clients, and knowledge and experience. You know, people look for us. People look at buy a consult when I'm not there with my agents. It's a little bit concerning, but they look for me. They look for that experience. So what have I gained in these years is that being honest, gaining their trust is going to be 2 most important things just in life, in a relationship. You know, that's a relationship you're building with your client. So I think it's very important to know that. That's what I've learned in these past 20 years, is how important it is when you are actually handling the biggest asset one can own, and it's their home. I think that is very important, to know what you're doing. And if you don't be afraid of asking. Ask your broker, ask your office manager, ask. It's the biggest asset, understand that.
Yeah, well, Janki, I've asked that question of at least 1,000 people, and that's the first time that somebody bragged about the success as earning the trust of somebody else. And I got to tell you, it just warms my heart, because that's what it's all about.
It is.
No.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you.
Pleasure. So you've taken on the role as president of Women's Council of Realtors. Tell me, what has taking that role on, what has that done for your notoriety? What has it done for your career? Talk to me about that.
Being part of Women's Council of Realtors in the past has done wonders, actually, getting to know other realtors around the world, around this, you know, US. I think it's very important to know other agents and networking with them. So when it comes to referrals, you know who to call in a particular area. It's helped me gain a lot of clarity on why I do what I do. I think they have some great panels that come to these conferences, and that's helped me gain that. It's helped me gain attention in this community here in Fremont. A lot of realtors know me, and when I'm writing an offer, they know why to choose our offer. Why is our offer the best offer? Or what can we do to get into contract with Janki's client? I think that speaks wonders for itself.
It does. It does. No doubt. Well, you're adding significant value to our audience today, and I thank you for that. No doubt. By the way, if you have any specific questions for Janki, I know you showed up to this webinar with an agenda. You have that burning question. You have that challenge that you're currently facing. Not only will you hear my perspective, you're going to hear from one of our icons, Janki. So what I'll encourage you to do is, down at the bottom, there's a little button that says chat, or there's another little button that says Q&A. Either one work. Go ahead and type in your questions right now. So Janki, my next question for you is, what is your greatest challenge in business today?
Oh my gosh, I remember talking about this yesterday, and we had dinner at 9:30 in the evening, my family and I. My greatest challenge today is being able to balance work, family, and me time. That's the biggest challenge I have. And knowing my greatest success, like we just talked about, what has been my greatest successes, establishing myself, like I said, from an assistant's position to being a top producing agent, being able to sit back and let my team do the work, and having my young adult children take the reins of our business, I think it's been very challenging to be able to let go, right? That is the biggest problem I have, is to let go. And I've been working through that challenge as well. So knowing what I know today, what would I have changed in my past? First thing is get yourself the right coach, the right team, align yourself with the right a mentor to help you with that process. And this challenge has still come up, and we do talk about it at our Coaching Calls Coach. We do discuss that, right? How can you balance work and family and me time? And you've helped us through that as well.
Fantastic, fantastic. So Kelly Russo, she asked this, she said, what are you doing specifically to double-side your deals? And Kelly's one of our coaching clients. Hi, Kelly, good to see you.
Hi, Kelly. So what do I do to double end my deals? Is that the question, Coach?
Yeah. So what are you doing specifically, though, to make certain that you're getting both sides of the transaction? Because you do it all the time. What do you do?
Well, we come from value proposition. We actually gain our clients' trust again and share knowledge of that particular home. I make sure that our client understands that you have the right to choose who you want to choose to work with. You can go hire yourself a buyer's agent if that's what you feel like that's the right move to make. And if you feel that, wanting to work with us, our team, by all means, we can represent you, because we've sought permission from the seller to represent a buyer. So we have got permission from the seller in writing that it's okay for you to dual agency.
Gotcha. Love that. And I trust, Kelly, that's answered your question. So I want to go a little bit back, because sometimes we view these icons and we create this parasocial relationship with them, unbeknownst to ourselves or them for that matter. And we kind of tend to view these people or people up on a panel or somebody giving a keynote presentation as they've got it all together, right? Their life is perfect. Everything is great. So I appreciate the transparency around the balance aspect of life. Now, we know that balance is just a fallacy. Balance doesn't exist. We do recognize it's about counterbalance, right? So what are some of your counterbalancing strategies? How are you able to kind of detach and let go from, and not be that control freak, right? How is it that you're doing that right now?
And that's been a challenge. Perfect example, last weekend, Saturday, I wanted to take some time off just to go away to the beach. And Hiran and I decided, let's go out, let's take the day off, let the open houses run. We've got the team in place and all that good stuff. I kid you not, Simran did ask Hiran, say, should I take mom's phone away from her, because she's going to really be on that. Sometimes it's very hard to let go because I'm such a control freak, and everyone knows that about me. But I have my family that surrounds me and protects me in that arena. I have my team agents that protect me, saying, you need to go, leave. I actually turned around halfway and went back to the open house that one of my agents was doing, making sure that she knew there was a price drop. She knew that it was marked on the flyers. I just didn't bother calling her. I actually turned around halfway through Half Moon Bay and I said, take me back to the open house. I want to make sure all is good. Knowing what I did and looking back at what I did, my actions that I took then, I am a control freak, and it is hard to let go of control. But I have that surrounding me every single day. I have that team surrounding me, that support that surrounds me, saying, you need to take that control out of you. And they take the control. When I was in Knoxville stuck, because I went there on business, my cousin wanted to buy a home and I was helping him buy a home there. We had 17 cancellations through American Airlines, and we had such a challenge coming back home. Who ran the team? Simran and Dylan did. Who actually, took care of the meetings and weekly team meetings? They did. So a lot of good came out of the bad, and it taught me that I have to let go of control. Every now and then, it's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
But it's a good thing.
Yeah, in business, we don't need to be control freaks. What we need are controls. Right. So that's where the leverage aspects of models, systems, technology, and people really come in. And we've got the right models, the right systems, right technology, right people. You can truly disconnect from the outcome because, by the way, you know that you're in that leverage phase of business when you're really confident and comfortable with all the promises being made to your prospects and clients and your past clients, no doubt about that. So it's a constant battle, though, is it not, Janki?
It is, absolutely. And it's so tough to let go, like I said, being on that plane, wondering what is going on, who's doing what, how is everyone doing? I realized I need to let go. And knowing that I know that I have the right people in place, Simran and Dylan, right people in place, taking care of the business, it has helped so much. It really has.
No doubt. When I think about that, I think about Susan Scott, the author of Fierce Conversations. I was having breakfast with her one morning, and she described the decision tree to me. She said, Sean, I want you to imagine a very large, fully grown tree, call it 100 feet tall, in the middle of a wide open field. It's midsummer, and it's in total bloom. I mean, a very healthy tree. See, if that tree, if it loses a leaf, it's surely going to survive. If it loses a twig, it's going to live, right? If it loses a branch even, it's still going to be there years and years to come, right? Yet if it loses the trunk, well, that's when the tree will unfortunately die, right?
Exactly.
So she challenged me, and she said, within your organization, Sean, I want you to identify what are the leaf decisions, what are the twig decisions, the branch decisions, and ultimately, I just want to see you engaged in those trunk decisions. And so what that did is it forced us to say, okay, at what level of the organization do people have autonomy to make this decision, and who should make it? At what level should this decision be made? And oftentimes, you guys, you're getting sucked down in the weeds, even if you've got a transaction coordinator. You might have an admin who's running all your transaction coordination for you, and yet you're still allowing yourself to get sucked down in the weeds on things like inspection negotiations. Right? We were closing over 300 sites per year, and there's no way I could possibly get involved in inspection issues if I were to maintain that level of production. There's no doubt about it. So I went to my transaction coordinator and I said, listen, if we have an inspection issue and the deal is surely going to die, and you can do it for less than $1,000, just write the check. Meaning, whatever it takes, get the deal closed, because I do recognize the time value of money.
Absolutely.
For one of the buyer's agents to take that buyer, put him back in the car, just to go out and show him another 20 homes to renegotiate, delaying the closing 6-8 weeks, and tying up that buyer's agent's time to where they can't be productive, it's not worth $1,000.
Exactly. And that is the same story that I have. A little bit different is that's when Simran came in and said, you know what? I understand what you want to do, Mom, but let me tell you something. You cannot always take everything in your hands. You've assigned the right people in place. You've put the right people in place. Let us do our jobs. So disappear. Janki, I need you to disappear. That's what Dylan says. I just go away. You need to go away. And they will not let me sit in a meeting, in a training meeting, where I could easily have a cooked dinner, have a glass of wine, relax with Haran, and everyone just pushes me out of that meeting. And it's just amazing to see. Even my team, my agents will push me out of that meeting saying, we don't need you. We've got Simran and Dylan here. So again, you're right. The trunk needs that time. And Haran always tells me, if you don't take time out for yourself, if you don't do this for yourself, there's not going to be a you. So take care of you first. Everything else will align in itself.
Yeah. I'll tell you one of the defining moments in my career. I was speaking with a top producing agent who was mentoring me at the time. And he said, Sean, what I want to do in my business and what I'm setting up here is that I don't want to be responsible for anything other than lead generation. That he said, that's the only thing I want to do in my business is lead generation. I couldn't connect those dots when I heard that. I thought, this guy's crazy. And yet, when you think about the highest and best use of your time as a rainmaker, as the lead agent, the team leader, it's in that lead generation, that lead follow-up. And then when you can delegate everything else, I mean, literally from the appointments to signing the contracts, to the inspection negotiations, putting the signs in the yard, creation of the brochures, I mean, that's when you achieve extraordinary results. Now, at the same time, I want to remind you all of what I call the what, how, and who paradox.
Right.
Meaning a combination of what you do, how you do it, and who you do it with, it's going to get you your current level of success, no doubt about that. And it doesn't automatically transform into a better combination of what you do, how you do it, and who you're doing it with. It's going to get you that next level success. So again, I would challenge you to investigate what you're doing, how you're doing it.
Exactly. And
who you're doing it with.
who you're doing it with. Exactly. And here's another thing to think about. You asked me the question of what is your greatest lessons that you've learned in real estate? Be patient doing it, be positive doing it, and be grateful. That's a message I would love everyone to take away today, is that those are the three things I've learned over the years. And I'm actually giving that to you, saying, you know what, be patient, be positive, be grateful. And it's never fail. It's always a win or a learn in real estate. Now, this was something Mike Dillon told me when I was about to get into a top agent panel in Santa Clara County Board of Associations. There was a panel that I was invited to, and I was one of the panelists. And he says, Mom, it's never about fail. Remember to always talk about, it's always a win or a learn. What have you learned from not getting that listing appointment? Or what have you learned if that agent, if that client did not hire you as their buyer's agent? You've learned something. What was it? Take that to your next appointment. Remember the 3 C's. I've always talked to my team about the 3 C's, Coach. You're never the cause of it. You can't control it, and you can't cure it. It's that simple. The three C's. And I live by that.
Fantastic. I absolutely love it. And to spin off of that, I would say really just focus on what you can control. And Janki, we've talked about this many times, right? So many people, they want to hold themselves accountable to how much money they make per month or per year. And while we should have targets, goals, expectations around how much money we're going to make, to hold ourselves accountable to it, I believe we're setting ourselves up for a disappointment. There's far too many things outside our control. Can't control the buyer's credit score.
You can't.
Can't control their cash availability for down payment. Can't control the seller's motivation or equity position, can you? So,
right.
so too many things outside of our control.
Right.
Yet they also want to hold themselves accountable to the number of contracts, right?
Exactly.
Like I need 8 listing contracts this month, or I need 10 buyer agency agreements this month. I think that's great. Again, we should have goals, we should have targets, expectations. Yet to hold ourselves accountable to that, that's pretty darn challenging, right?
And what are you going to do to get there? How are you going to get there?
Right.
Who we talk to get there? Those are the who, how, and why. Why do you want to get there? Oh, I wake up every single morning when I see my son right there pacing, telling me about what the feds have done, because he's a foreign exchange trader. He wakes up at 3 and 4 in the morning. So I'm getting my minute updates every morning, knowing that I know that's my big why, knowing that, a lot of people say, what is your big why? And it comes down to kids. I get it. But no, for me, it wasn't about only my children. It was knowing that my big why has come from never going back to being a failure. Or never going back to that position. I've been there, and I never want to go back there again. When I think about that gets me out of bed just like this. Awesome, Janki. All right, so a couple other questions came in. First off, what was your biggest challenge when you first started real estate? Let's rewind the tape. Okay, my biggest challenge, very good question, was how do I get to my first deal? I have no one around me. I have everyone that I know of, my parents, friends, and families. Everyone has purchased a home. Nobody wants to sell. That was my biggest challenge, is how do I get my first listing? Who do I need to talk to? And what kind of people do I need to surround myself with to get to that level? My biggest challenge. Powerful questions you asked of yourself. And obviously, gang, the power of the question determines the power of the answer, right? So just knowing, who do I talk to? How do I go about doing this? And of course, understanding the why is that important. The why is the fuel in the tank that's going to get you across the finish line first. So a couple other questions real quick. Diana Keating says, I'm a solo agent and it's difficult to follow up with all clients. What advice would you have? I would say hire a virtual assistant. Okay. Hire someone that first, right? Part-time, hire someone that can help you make those phone calls. We've got a VA that's on our team, and she does she does do circle prospecting. She does expireds. So hire somebody that can help you with that. We've got a database of 1,900 leads that keep coming in. On a given month, we receive at least 90 leads a month from what we do. And how do I can't, I'm not a one-man show here. I've got people in place. So hire a VA. Fantastic. And by the way, if you don't have the cash availability to make that happen, what I would recommend is reaching out to some of your vendor relationships, some of your partners. By the way, your mortgage loan originators, by the way, they are the most important leverage point for any realtor who works with buyers. Absolutely. And let's agree that if we can get permission
from our prior prospect to have our lender give them a call, and that lender calls acting as your third-party endorsement, then the chance of you moving that from a prospect to a client to a closing increases exponentially.
Yes.
So if you're having trouble keeping up on top of the leads, I want you to call your lender. Say, listen, I need a face-to-face with you. It'll take about 20 minutes. And I want you to set 4 expectations. The first is that they agree that they're going to follow up with all of your leads until they buy or die, okay? That they're going to take ownership of that role. It drives me crazy that people are paying and outsourcing ISA work, and they're spending thousands of dollars per month to make certain that these leads are being followed up on when you've got vendors that are willing to do it for you free of charge, okay? Second, make certain that they're going to act as your third-party endorsement on every conversation. So they'll place a follow-up call and say, hi, this is John Smith with XYZ Realty, and Sean Kokoska asked me to give you a call. And before I begin into our conversation, I got to take a moment. I want to commend you on your selection of a realtor. You know what? Sean is by far the best realtor I've ever come across, and I've been doing this for 25 years. How'd you get in touch with Sean? So they're going to make it all about you. They can sell you better than you could ever sell yourself. If you're selling yourself like that, well, guess what? That's ego-based, and nobody likes somebody with a big ego. When somebody else does it, then they're just that third-party endorsement. So you do it for your lender, they do it for you. Point number 3 is that they're going to meet with you on a weekly basis, whether it's over the phone or face-to-face or via Zoom meeting, just like Janki and I, and they're going to review your pipeline with you. They're going to rank each prospect on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of motivation. And of course, they're going to notify you immediately as their motivations increase. And point number 4, I would ask them to be a part and physically present, if not them, another MLO from their company at every open house that you do.
So we had a lender that was participating with us, and where the slip up happened is she was not following up. I had to let her go, and we had another lender just waiting there, and she jumped on it, and she is the one following up with all our clients. Most of our leads go to her, and she follows up thoroughly. She calls them, raves about our realtors. It's amazing. It really does work. And again, like I said, we have an ISA on our team part-time. It doesn't cost much. If you need someone to help you with that, that can certainly be another source as well.
No doubt. One other quick question, then we're going to let these people get on with their busy days. What would you recommend as it relates to website? Is it important for an agent to have an IDX site, that information data exchange, allowing buyers to do home searches and being able to see on the back end which properties were they clicking on? How important do you think that is in a realtor's business?
I think it's very important. I think if you let them see what is out there and you provide it to them, guess what? You're already coming from contribution. You're providing them something they want. So who are they going to call? If you are in touch with them, if you're constantly in touch with them, if you put them on a drip campaign, you check up on them every week or every 2 weeks, and they're getting the listing under your IDX feed, they're getting that listing, they're certainly going to call you. We've had clients that have come back to us.
Yeah, I definitely recommend that. No doubt about it. I think it's a basic necessity for anybody in real estate today. On the other hand, I wouldn't give it to them for free. Now, they're going to pay for it, not with money. They're going to pay for it with their identity. So collecting their name, their email address, their phone number before they get access to that data, I think is a critical first step, because it's all about lead identification and the information that you can provide to them through the IDX feed. Well, that's the lead magnet for you. So it's absolutely essential.
Right. And we give them one, and then we have a pop-up pops up to give us their information. Yeah.
And to circle back to Kelly Ross's question about how do you double end, I know you have a big build up to the launch of every listing to have this massive open house. I mean, you had 180 plus couples through, or families through, an open house on the weekend. I mean, imagine having 180 plus people coming through an open house. I'm sure that you can agree with me that the chances of you double ending that listing increase exponentially when that happens. So building out that front end system to make certain that you're getting a big showing at your open house, doing a shorter window open house, not 4 hours, but bring it down to 2 hours, then you're going to get more traffic through all at the same time, creates that kind of feeding frenzy. And of course, they'll go straight to the listing agent to buy that listing in a competitive market. So I know you're leveraging that, Janki.
Exactly. And what we do before, that's a different conversation. I mean, we can go on and on, Coach, but we do, you're correct. You are correct. We do door knocking. We do wine and cheese. I mean, we do so much before we even, let anyone through the home. We don't, it's like a teaser,
Undoubtedly. And we could talk for the next 8 hours adding value to these people. Unfortunately, our time is up. So if they want to get in touch with you, Janki, how would they do that to ask any specific questions?
You know, the best way to get in touch with me is to just Google me. Google me, Janki Patel Realtor, and you'll get all my information right there. Or I can give you my phone number right now, but just Google me, Janki Patel. That's that simple, Realtor.
And they'll see your phone number there. They can call you. They can ask you questions. They can send you referrals. There's a free month in the area, no doubt about it.
We've got an amazing team, catering service with the silver platter. We're here for you and your clients. We will not let you down.
Well, I want to thank you all for engaging with Janki and I today. Our next icon of the month is going to be Heath Moulton, and he is just crushing it with new construction. He's going to teach us how he's getting those big developments, how he's getting those listings, and how he's getting the referrals of those buyers to help them sell their home as well. So guys, really looking forward to that next month. Of course, you're going to receive an invitation. And yes, we have recorded this. We're going to send out the replay link to everybody who registered within the next couple of hours. And we're going to post it to Facebook here in just probably a few hours. So all good things. Janki, thank you so much for adding so much significant value to our audience. Any last words before I let you run?
Like I said, always be positive, be patient, and be willing to go that extra mile for your client.
I love it, Janki. Words to live by, everybody. I'll see you on the next icon of the month. Until then, be on purpose, be productive, and as always, be powerful. Talk soon, everybody.